Hello and welcome. Today I would like to talk to you about Hollow Knight and how the first ending is actually the beginning of the game. So let us begin. Of course, what I mean is the first ending that you can get by simply defeating the Hollow Knight after awakening the Dreamers. The main reason that I say that the first ending of Hollow Knight is actually the beginning of the game is the Hollow Knight fight itself. When we first face off against the Hollow Knight, we see the title card, which declares unceremoniously that this is the Hollow Knight. The title card for the fight against the Hollow Knight acts in three distinct ways. First of all, as the literal name of the boss. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, it functions as a notice to the player that they are not the title character. Most players will assume that the title of the game refers to the protagonist, namely themselves. Indeed, I believe that Team Cherry very intentionally leads the players to this conclusion. The very box art prominently features the knight in a heroic pose, wielding the nail and looking onwards into adventure. There is an entire history of video games which feature a hero saving a kingdom who has this one quest that only they can fulfill. So, as video game players, we all come into this game with the expectation that we are the hero and we are here to save the day, and therefore the title of the game must refer to ourselves. Therefore, it is a surprise that when we reach the Temple of the Black Egg and face off against the Hollow Knight for the first time, that title card does not simply function as the name of the boss, but also as the very first notice to the player that they are not the main character of this game. And a third way that the title card functions is as a title to the game itself. And I believe that this is very significant. There is a tradition in video games to have a preamble before the title of the game itself. It is not just because of these reasons, though, that I say that the Hollow Knight ending is the true beginning of the game. The battle itself really constitutes the rest of my argument. So I'm going to try to break it down. During the initiation, we are fully within our expectations. Although there was the subversion of the expectations with the name of the boss, the fight itself has a final battle energy to it. The boss themselves is large and towering over us in a very frightening way. Has a very large nail that is traditionally terrifying, and the music, most importantly, signals a kind of final confrontation. However, these expectations are subverted about halfway through the fight, because halfway through the fight, the music suddenly changes. And not only the music, but the behavior of the boss dramatically changes as well. These two things in combination provide a very unsettling situation for the player. I will speak from my own personal experience. When I first faced off against the Hollow Knight themselves, I felt all of these emotions that were very confusing. When I saw the Hollow Knight trying to commit seppuku, it was off-putting and very unexpected. When the music was swelling with an emotional resonance of sadness That was not what I was expecting to feel in a final confrontation with the last boss of the game. Indeed, as I struggled to defeat the Hollow Knight and listened to this music and watched the Hollow Knight stab themselves over and over and over and realized that the Hollow Knight wants to lose. The boss is trying to kill themselves. The boss wants us to win. And all of this in combination with the music and its tragic, truly tragic feelings. I expected to feel triumphant, but I will be brutally honest with you. I felt like crying. I felt like weeping. And this was the last thing that I expected in a final boss. Now, why do I talk about this? I talk about this because of this dynamic between the setting up of expectations and the subversion of those same expectations, where as players we have expectations of what a final boss should feel like. We have spent a lot of time in this world, we have developed our skills, we've faced confrontation after confrontation, challenge after challenge, we've grown and become stronger, and now there's the final battle, and we know how the game is supposed to make us feel. The game is supposed to make us feel like a hero. We have fought so hard to get to this point. Yes, this challenge is difficult. Yes, it is hard, but we will push on and we will eventually become victorious and have a feeling of satisfaction, a heroic feeling of accomplishment. This is the feeling that we are supposed to have after a final boss. But instead, not only does the music and the style of the battle subvert these expectations, at the same time, most players find the battle against the Hollow Knight to be unusually easy. This is a very common response, that a lot of people are off-put by how easy it was to defeat the Hollow Knight. And I believe that this as well was intentional. All of these different aspects come together to give the player a complete subversion of expectations. The game does not want you to feel triumphant. The game wants you to feel unsatisfied. And there's a very important reason for this. It's because the first ending of Hollow Knight is actually the true beginning of the game. Team Cherry wants you to keep playing. If the battle against the Hollow Knight was a satisfying one, many people would stop playing at that point. If the battle did not subvert your expectations and surprise you with this tragic music and suddenly the boss turning against themselves and being on your side, wanting to lose. Indeed, Hollow Knight is a game about mystery and exploration and trying to learn things for yourself. So it is only natural that Team Cherry would put a feeling of mystery into this first ending, because they wanted everyone to know at a visceral level that there is more in this world. There is more in this game. You do not even know the half of the story and what is really happening. If you want to know what's really happening in Hollow Knight, you cannot stop at the first ending because you don't know anything. All you know is that there is a kingdom, an infection, and some dreamers that lock up the infection in a vessel. What does that tell you? Next to nothing. Perhaps the most important question that we are left with at the first ending is, who is the Hollow Knight? And that is again why I say that this ending is the true beginning of the game. That this fundamental setting up of expectations and subversion is copied in the name of the game itself. You never think to yourself that the name Hollow Knight was a mystery. You never even consider this until you face off against the Hollow Knight at the end of the game. And instead of answering the question, it just creates more questions. But ultimately, it is truly up to the player. Will you persist in the mystery? Will you continue to go back into this world and to try to learn and discover what happened and what is your role in this narrative? Truly, what are you doing here? And who are you? If you are not the Hollow Knight, then who are you? This is perhaps another question that is implicitly brought up, and it is one that I intend to explore in a follow-up to this video. I hope that you enjoyed listening to this, and if you would like to learn more and to hear more about my perspectives, please remember to subscribe and to turn on notifications. I'd be very interested to hear any of your perspectives on the Battle of the Hollow Knight, how you felt about it, how you felt about the music, anything like that. Very much I'm looking forward to sharing more with you. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day.